That's Bo and Luke. I'm Jason, and this is the American Dream Car Show.
If you could just fix your mic though.
I did it. On this episode, Jake sits down. What? That's not one.
Margaret, stop.
Sorry.
Do better.
Yep.
Let's try it again. Sorry. And let's do this.
Without any question, one of my favorite parts about making this show is actually being out on the road. It doesn't matter if it's a highway, a gravel back road. The vehicles really don't make any difference to me either. It's all about being out there.
Oh, totally. No, that definitely is one of the most entertaining and exciting parts. I'm always up for a road trip.
You are, huh?
Yeah?
Well, good. Let's go then. Come on, hurry.
Wait, what now?
Yeah, come on, let's go. Great day for a drive.
Yeah, it really is.
Sun's out, skies are blue, hanging out with my bro.
Word.
So what do you want to get into today?
I could get into a plate of chimichangas, to be honest.
All right, I'm in for lunch. Right after that, what do you want to do?
Oh, actually, you know what? There is something I've been wanting to talk to you about.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you remember when we went down to Florida and Cecil was all like, hey, you should go see the Woodman. He's in your backyard.
We have some talent, but this guy here is probably the most talented guy you'll ever meet.
We got this guy in our backyard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna go, so the Woodman, we're coming to see you. Of course I remember.
Well, did you see the Facebook comments from people online saying, hey, you guys should go see the Woodman?
Of course I did.
Well, do you not see where I'm going with this? Maybe you should actually follow through with and keep your promises that you make on the show to everyone, and we go see the Woodman.
Well, would you like to go see him today? All right, so we said we were gonna come see the Woodman. People told us we needed to go see the Woodman. So Jake, what are we here to do?
We came to see the Woodman.
All right, so we were told to come see this guy. Oh, there he is, Jeff Hobgood. Jeff not only has a good friend of yours, Cecil, said we needed to come meet you, but fans on our Facebook page said you better go meet the Woodman. So I've got to say it, great to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Jeff, obviously you've seen you working in your final work. It has to start somewhere. Where did this love for automobiles get started?
This is my great uncle and great aunt. And this car, my great grandparents bought brand new in 1905, and it's still in our family today. And then later in the 50s, this is two of my dad's cousins on that car when they first restored it in about 1952, 53.
And that 100% speaks to that era. You can see their clothes that they have on.
Yeah.
Looks like a sitcom.
Yeah. And then later, this is when it was at a race with a 1- and 2-cylinder cars up in Santa Claus, Indiana. And that's when they actually won. They won the first 3 years they had that race.
They would do the races as like a tourist attraction, right?
Yes.
Bring
Yeah,
people
they
into
would
town.
draw people to that area because they were selling property on Christmas Lake Village. And they said if Mr. Cook says there's going to be a lake there, there will be. And so then they would have all these spectators show up there, and then they would see these properties that were for sale.
What about these guys on the motorcycles? They look
Okay,
pretty
now
cool.
this is my great uncle again, and one of his friends. Well, they went from Evansville, Indiana to Denver, Colorado in 1937.
They went on an adventure, like a
Yes.
true adventure. And that's
Yes.
one of the things that Wheels and Motors give us the ability to do is to go out and explore.
You know, nowadays it's about a 1,100-mile bike ride, and back then he said once you got to St. Louis, past St. Louis, it was all dirt and gravel the rest
Wasn't
of the
quite
way.
as easy to travel
No.
as it. How does that transition into artwork?
What I did is when I was in junior high and high school, I would sit at my drawing table in my room, which I mean, I just had this little table, and I would work on these old photographs. Grandma and Grandpa Martin, the baby in the picture, is actually my mom's oldest sister, my Aunt June, and this is about 1936.
Wait, so you drew this just using a picture?
Yes.
Jeff, this is pretty neat. I mean, the first thing I'm noticing, obviously, is the detail on the faces. You can see the expressions.
See like the telephone wire going across there.
Yeah, the lines on this car back here where you can see the spokes on the wheel.
It's about a 1930 Chevrolet car. And then this picture I did, this is the day my grandma and grandpa Hobgood, my dad's mom and dad were married in 1934. And they borrowed this Model A Roadster from my grandpa's brother-in-law, and they ran away and eloped out near Mount Vernon, Indiana.
I'm blown away by the detail that you're able to come up with here. The detail on the lines on this car are so clean, and the shading, the accents that you're able to get at such a young age. You said you were in high school with these, right?
This one here, I was a sophomore in high school, 1985.
So as a teenager, you already had this eye for art and the automobile. What was your first like big project that had to do with cars?
When I was going to college at University of Southern Indiana, I was in illustration classes, and I was in one of my classes, I was asked to create a image that could be mass produced or printed, and so I grew up going to the Frog Follies since I was about 6.
And there's a name that a lot of people are familiar with. Frog Follies is a big deal in the automotive world.
Yeah, I've been to every one of those. I was 6 years old the first year they had that at our Vandenberg County Fairground. Yeah, and I met with a guy named Steve Marholtz and Rick Bonenberger, and this was when I was 19 years old, and it was actually a class project. And I met with the club, and then they voted on, they all agreed that they wanted to use this image, so then it was printed on all the shirts that year.
Jeff, I love this, but you're the Woodman. You're the Woodman. So
Yeah.
how do we get to wood from the pencil and ink drawing?
Jason, you know that paper actually comes from wood, right?
Oh, thank you, Jake. Appreciate you bringing that up. Wood and paper do go together. You're right.
I'm here to help.
We're going to get a little deeper on the wood and paper conversation in a minute, okay? But
When I was in college, I had my art professor was John McNaughton, and he taught us how to not only make something in 3 dimensions, but not like cabinet making. It's more free form and sculpture, and then you can work off of this drawing and make the patterns.
I was going to say, this looks very automotive.
Yes, what this is an I-beam axle. These are Buick fin brake drums and an I-beam axle, which is on an old, like a 30s car. And it's tall, so you can put drinks on top of it and have bar stools next to it if you want to use it as a bar table.
So Jeff, you have a vision and you just put it down on paper. I mean, it's pretty simple. At that point.
Yes, when I was a kid, my dad would get Popular Mechanics magazine, and they would have these kind of centerfold of it had a blueprint of a table or some project, like it might have been a clock housing. And it showed me how to make like legs on a table. And so I basically, since I was 10 to 12 years old, learned how to make something to scale. It was kind of small projects. Well, then when I got into college, I could make these bigger pieces and they actually have a function, and then I can design and make something for a show like SEMA or in a store. It's the same basic idea, it's just bigger.
When you're working in the automotive world, you start to grow an affinity for the cars and the automobiles, and you had told me it's like, hey, this isn't a passion that this happens overnight. It's something that's like a labor of love, right?
Yes, I love to create things and design things, and then I have projects where people will commission me to make something for their business, and then or their display in a commercial display, and then I'll design it, make it for them, and it'll fit right in with what they are into.
So obviously this is the sketch. Taking it from here to there, I'd like to see a finished product. I mean, if that's a possibility. And seeing some of your work here, what else you got?
Yeah, okay, this table setting over here, it's out.
Wow.
The top and the bottom are made out of white ash wood, and they're Buick fin brake drums. And then the I-beam axle is actually made out of walnut. So this I-beam axle is actually on the front of the car from the front wheel to front wheel, and then the brake drums will be on the ends of the axle, and I just stylized the whole thing.
This is incredible. So you took that sketch and this is the final product.
Yeah.
Jake, come over here and check this out. Right up in here, You've actually made it where you could showcase stuff.
Yeah, it's like a shadow box where you can put things in there. People that collect, if it's hat pins or maybe the buttons from rod runs, or these are just some NHRA patches that I've collected over the years.
Cool. So this would be utilized as kind of a pub table?
Yes, yeah.
Hang
you
out in
put
the man
bar
cave,
stools
maybe?
on both sides of it, yeah. And it actually has a function. But like I said, I stylized the parts. I like the element of the teeth. You know, a lot of hot rodders like those Buick brake drums.
Yeah. This is neat. Now, what's the deal with this guy right here?
Okay, this is a table I designed and I had at a show last August. It's a Ferrari, and I used the style of a early Ferrari vintage steering wheel.
Look at the tone, the muscle tone.
Yeah, it's all the grain of that's a lot of the pieces that I make. I pick specific pieces to put to create those lines, and it gives it depth.
All right, so let me ask you this. When you're working the wood, does it kind of tell you where it needs to go, or do you tell it where it needs to go?
Well, I look at the boards and I figure out where I like the wood grain, and then I know from years of doing it, you know, when I start shaping it, how it's going to create the effect of the lines. Like I picked this curly maple to make it look like the ripples of the mane, like this blowing in the wind.
Well, I was gonna say, Jeff, if you get in here, you can actually see like there's a different texture. It almost looks like hair on the mane.
Yeah, the line on there is the winter growth, and the part in between there is the summer growth, and so you have basically, I was trying to create it, you know, looks like muscles.
Well, yeah,
you can see the depth of the muscles.
If you get in here, you can actually see the
from
texture.
the lines on the wood.
It's very 3D.
And as you walk around, it kind of changes a little bit. The wood you can see, like on the real steering wheel, it has this real thin piece of metal. Because on the real steering wheel, it's a real flat piece of metal. Just right here on this edge, on the real steering wheel, that goes all the way through the steering wheel. On the real steering wheel is really wood that's actually fastened. It has little screws in it.
That's stunning. I mean, it really is. Jeff, I can't help but notice the car right here. First of all, because it's beautiful. Second, because obviously it's made of wood.
Yeah, this is a model of a 52 Jaguar. It's called a 120. The body that's painted red is all out of poplar, and the dash is out of mahogany, and then all the chrome parts are actually, and the wheels are all out of hard maple.
So wait a minute, so there's not just parts of this car made out of wood, the entire car is made out of wood?
Yes, except for the windshield, it's made out of acrylic. It has a red enamel stain on it that's transparent, so you can see all the wood grain, all the strips of wood down the body.
I mean, every little detail from the gear shift to the brake pad. I mean, the steering wheel is made out of wood.
You can actually hold it in your hand.
Look at this.
It's 31 inches long. It's pretty big.
How do you even figure out that this is something you can do?
Well, what I did is I've done a lot of hot rods over the years, and I wanted to do some type of a exotic or foreign car. And my neighbors actually own a car just like this, so I went down to their house and I actually measured all these parts. And when I do it like that, I can make it a whole lot faster. And basically, when I go to like a Monterey or Pebble Beach, I can show a piece like this to the people that are into those type of cars.
And then I could have one made for me.
Yes, I just figure out how big the customer wants it and then develop the drawing, and then that gives me a base to make the whole project to scale.
You know, being into cars, I mean, it's hard not to love this. This is absolutely cool.
Well, if you like cars, I have some cars I could show you over in my shop over there.
Oh, wow, Jeff. All right, so right out of the gate, I'm seeing that we're working with some wood here.
Yeah, I'm redoing the wood on this 48 Packard, and I've taken all the wood off the car, and I'm going to start refinishing all this, basically stripping all the wood, taking all this veneer off, and then I'll repair the places where it has cracks in it. Some of it I'll have to do a total replacement on, depending on how bad the damage is of it.
So who better to repair the Woody than the Woodman? All right, Jeff, what's going on over here? It looks like we might have a hot rod and some classic muscle.
These are a couple of my personal cars. It's a 1941 Willys, and it has a big block Chevy for an engine, and I built this to compete in some vintage nostalgia races. It's all metal except the hood is fiberglass. The racing name of it's called the Whittler.
The Whittler.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so back over here to the Nova.
The Nova actually was my very first car, a car that I got when I was 13 years old, and I still have it. I've owned this car for over 35 years.
All right, so this, I'm hearkening back to the Jeff that was in there doing the drawings, and this was sitting in the garage just waiting for you?
Yeah, but it didn't look like this. It had to be repainted. And we freshened up the motor as far as painting it, cleaned it up to take it to car shows. It didn't look this nice when I first got it.
So I can't help but have the eagerness, the need to hear that run. I feel like we ought to like rev it up or something, right?
Yeah, we can take it down the road for a little ride.
That was a good time. Fast, loud. Jeff, I can see why people are addicted to racing. I remember you saying something about the Chevy under the hood, though.
Yeah, it's a 454 big block Chevy. It's been punched 30 over. Got aluminum GM heads on it. It's really a pretty mild motor. It'll actually run on pump gas.
Now, I remember you told me in the car, this thing goes really fast in a very, very short period of time. How fast do you think you're going?
It'll do 100 in less than 6 seconds.
How fast are you getting down the track?
Well, the quickest I've ever run in a quarter is a 1049. But then when it's really hot, the weather's hot and the air's not very good, it'll run like a 1070.
It says here on the side, the Woodman and Hot Rod Holly.
Yeah, that's my wife. She likes cars that are fast and loud.
I feel like I need to get some more amazing fast cars. Is there maybe a group of people I should be associating with?
Oh yeah, the Goodguys car shows.
All right. Funny you should mention that. Bob, cars.
Cars.
Man, they kind of bring people together, don't they?
Yeah, they sure do. You know what? I had a saying way back when at our National Impala Convention in 1990, it's the Impalas that bring us together, but it's the people that keep us together.
Absolutely, and you put a whole lot of people in this car.
It's a 9-passenger, 68 Caprice Estate wagon, original 427 engine, so it gets down the highway and it hauls the people. It hauls more than today's minivans do.
Well, and you were talking about how, like, for you, the automotive world's all about the people that are in it. I kind of agree, and travel for me is what makes cars so appealing. And I could just imagine going cross-country, kind of like the Griswolds would, in a vehicle like this and loading up and having a real family adventure.
Well, you know what? We do a lot of highway driving. I just hit 1,650 miles from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, driving down here. So it's a highway car, and it's just a wonderful driving car on the highway.
Well, and it's beautiful. I mean, tell me what your favorite thing is about this car, because obviously
the engine. Yeah, it's an original 427, 385 horse car. So you figure 385 horse in a 4,500-pound car. It still moves along pretty good.
Yeah, so not only can you get all the people in it, you can get them down the road fast.
385 horsepower gets us there pretty quick.
I'm just picturing that family vacation, because you said the people is what you love about this world. And for me, the people, I agree with it. And the travel and the adventures you get to go on, the experiences you get to have, those people is what it's all about.
Well, it's the people, but the stories that this particular car can tell. I bought it with 111,000 miles on it. It now has 255.
It's seen part of the world. You've been in it, seeing the world, and all those people that you've had along the way. I mean, I can't imagine.
It's just, again, it's all about the people, meeting new friends along the way. Made 40 new friends here on this tour.
Bob, glad to call you friend, man.
Hey, Jason, thank you for doing this. Pleasure to be here.
Jake, check it out. The Woodman's here. Jeff, what's going on, buddy?
Good to see you.
You were not kidding about the Goodguys. Look at all these amazing cars, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot of neat cars out here. There's one over here I'd like to show you. It's pretty special that Wes and Vivian Rydell own.
See, it's a special car?
Yeah, it's a real special Cadillac convertible.
Jake, we like special cars, don't we? Let's check it out. And talk about a unique car, Jeff. Look at this Cadillac.
The car is called Madam X. It's based on a drawing from an Oldsmobile engineer in 1935. The car was never actually built. And so Wes and Vivian Rydell had this four-door sedan, and basically they took that original car and created this convertible from those drawings. Started out at Wes's shop, a guy named Doug Peterson. He had worked on it in the shop there in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And then it went out to California to Luke DeLay's shop, where Doug and Luke DeLay worked on making the fenders and lengthening the doors. And so basically this was all created to look like that drawing from 1935.
And this is the only car in existence.
Yeah.
Take a look at this, Jake. I mean, the detail that goes into something as simple as the wheel on this car, and then the lines and the chrome, it's just an immaculate car.
But it has a whole brand new chassis under it. It has a 6.2 liter V8 engine in it. It has an 8-speed automatic transmission.
Big thanks to the Good Guys for bringing a unique gem like this one here. Let's go check out some other cool cars. Hanging out with the Good Guys here. Dave, so glad to have you at the Dream Car Museum, man. Thank you for coming.
Well, we appreciate the hospitality.
Absolutely. All right, so what's this all about? Why are you guys here?
Well, this cruise to Columbus thing started so many years ago with a guy, and it was just a small group that would do this. They'd go from the Des Moines show, which is one of Good Guys' bigger shows, to their biggest show in Columbus. And along the way, we'd stop at shops, we'd stop at something automotive. Well, things kind of in different ways, and it was offered to me to run it. And it's like, some of my best friends I've met on this cruise. My good buddy Dale, I mean, you know, we travel all year long together. We drive 32 roasters out to California every year.
Oh, wow.
And without the cruise, I wouldn't have met him. We get this group together and we travel halfway across the country. We say we love cars, we love the people. We love car people.
The centric point is cars. I mean, it brings people together, doesn't it?
Correct.
I mean, I'm kind of like you. Some of my best friends I've met doing adventures, kind of like Jake. When you live out on the road together, you end up bonding. And
that's what cars do.
Dave, tell me about your car here. This is a beauty.
Well, I tend to have a love affair with the 1932 Ford. I have 12 of these. This particular one I like because it's got air conditioning. She rides real nice. It's kind of like the old guy's car.
Yeah.
I've got fast ones. This car is a all steel, real deal Ford. Even the fenders were real steel Ford fenders, all restored sometime in the 70s. And it's been changed a little bit, but basically it's just a true old hot rod.
And an everyday driver.
Absolutely. I can drive that from Des Moines out to Columbus and not think twice.
Sounds like a good plan, man. Sounds like a great car. So tell me about all these people and all these cool cars that are going to be up in Columbus.
We have everything from high school kids, we got mechanics, we've got presidents of corporations, and there might be a mechanic there next to the shop guy that moves the cars around, next to a salesman sitting right by the guy that runs the whole branch, and you might even have a vice president for that company. They could all be sitting at a table having something to eat and talking.
Well, speaking of car people in this show in Columbus, is that something we should check out?
I highly recommend it.
All right, Jake,
yeah.
Let's go to Columbus. After hanging out with the Good Guys at the Dream Car Museum, they said you have to get to one of our shows. So we're here in Columbus. There are cars everywhere. Jake, let's check some out. There's much that goes better together than cool cars and cool drinks. All right, Jake, so what we talked about with the Good Guys when they were down at the museum was how awesome the stories are that come with the people that go with the cars. I just met Gary here, and Gary said, hey, do you want to hear a neat story? I was like, yeah. Gary, what's the deal with this car, and how are you associated with it?
All right, this was my very first car in 1959. I came home from football practice, and there's a little black Model A with red wheels sitting in the backyard for my 16th birthday.
Okay.
Well, at the time, I thought I was Chip Foose or something. I proceeded to screw up a good Model A. So anyway, I sold it in 1960 to buy another Model A, and I sold it for $150 in 1960. Bought it back from the daughter of the man that I sold it to in 1960. I bought it back from her in 2012. I'd moved to Ohio, and she'd been looking for me, had no idea, you know. And it was in his garage for 50-some years. Wow. We went down, she opened the garage door, and she wouldn't even go in. So she threw out a price, and I said, well, I'll go this much.
And here the car sits.
Yeah.
So obviously it worked out, which is good.
So anyway, I'm almost 75, and not very many 75-year-old men can say they have their very first car.
That is neat.
In 2012, I had the car, and I sent it down to Henry Richards, Mansfield Manufacturing, and they put it under one of their signature 32 frames and chopped 4 3/8 inches out of the top.
Well, here's what the car looked like in its original state, which is pretty neat. You got a picture of it back then, and now we see its beauty today. Yeah. Thank you so much, Gary, for sharing that story. That's super cool. No matter who you are or where you're from, if you're into cars, you got to get to a Good Guys show. You know, there's few things more impressive than thousands and thousands of hot rods all gathered in one location.
Oh, no kidding. That was awe-inspiring to see. Also, those lemon shakeups were the truth.
They were legit. You know, it's wild to think that a set of wheels and an engine can bring a group of people together.
Yeah, no, it really can. It's like we're kind of discovering it doesn't really matter what type of vehicle or mode of transportation you happen to be a fan of. There is a fandom and a culture and usually an organization that goes right with it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And actually, you know, we talked about road trips earlier, and sometimes being actually on the road isn't what you want. You're looking to go off-road. All right, Jake, I'm so excited about what's about to happen. We're here by the highway. Why are we by the highway? Because we are about to see hundreds of Jeeps pass by us. It's the 3rd annual Back the Blue Jeep Rally brought to you by the Evansville Area Jeepers. Hundreds of Jeeps are coming from Mount Vernon, Indiana, going through Evansville, Indiana, making its way to Henderson, Kentucky. It's a huge fundraiser for a very, very awesome cause, Cops Connecting with Kids. Myself, I'm going to participate in the Jeep Rally. I'm super excited. But since this is such an amazing benefit, and they said there's hundreds of Jeeps on site, I had to see this for myself. Let's check it out. I'm Jason.
This is the American Dream Jeep Show.
No, it's not.
I renamed it.
What? It's the Back the Blue Jeep Rally right here in Henderson, Kentucky, hosted at Audubon Chrysler Center. And around us, look at this. All these amazing Jeeps have gathered for a great cause to benefit Cops Connecting with Kids. Now, I need to find somebody around here that knows what's going on because, I mean, we're talking about an off-road course. We've got food, barbecue, games for the kids, music. Oh, and there's the man right there, hiding out in a Jeep, of course. What's up, Ryan?
What's going on?
All right, so Ryan, what's your exact title? I mean, what's the game here?
I'm the president of the Evansville Area Jeepers.
Okay.
I created this madness, I guess.
So you're saying this is your fault in a good way?
I had the idea to start a Jeep club. I added the 3 people I knew, and it exploded from there.
Now, Ryan, obviously there's a lot going on here. I'd love to take a look at everything that's happening. Can we do that?
Yeah, let's check it out.
All right, so obviously Jeep guys and gals love to play, right?
That's right. We've got everybody, families, you name it, they're here. We are the Evansville Area Jeepers. Basically, we're a group of individuals who own Jeeps and have a common passion of Jeeping.
What do Jeep guys and gals like to do with their Jeeps?
We like to be crazy, do crazy stuff, park on stuff, get dirty,
Go over stuff?
go over stuff.
This is yours right here,
That's
right?
mine.
So what do you call this beautiful baby?
That's a Jeep.
What's being a Jeep owner all about?
It's a whole lifestyle. You know, there's like motorcycles, motorcycle clubs. We've got Jeeps and Jeep clubs. It's a common passion.
So Ryan, what is this particular event all about?
This is a fundraiser for the Cops Connecting with Kids charity, which is a local organization that takes kids from the local middle schools to Disney World.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. I mean, you got a group of people here that have a common interest, a passion, something they like doing, and they're doing it for a good cause. Speaking of what they're doing, what all kind of things do they like to do with
We've got
those
an
Jeeps?
obstacle course. We can drive over dirt piles. We can drive over cars. We can flex on cop cars.
Wait, flex on a car?
Yeah, we've got that going on right over here. It's basically, it's the Jeep's version of flexing its stuff.
All right, awesome. So you get a group of people together for a common cause and they do some good in the neighborhood. Get out there and do some yourself, come on. We get a chance to jump in a Jeep. The president of the Jeep Club has said I will volunteer my Jeep as tribute. So Ryan, are we ready to go?
Let's do it!
I don't want to be put in the back seat like I was on the one episode.
So you put me in the back seat? How is that fair?
I don't want to be in the back seat.
I'm Jason Moore. I host the American Dream Car Show. I ride up front. I'm so important.
It's not about that. It's just the fact that Ryan offered for us to ride and I got in the Jeep first. Ah! Ryan, what's your favorite part about Jeeping?
Every bit of it. I love every bit of it.
I've got to tell you, man, the car, good grief,
I'm alive.
Okay.
Everything's fine.
It's the people, it's the lifestyle, it's doing stuff like this. Yeah!
This is fun. I can see why people are such fans of Jeeps, man. I mean, every time I see somebody go over one of these, they're smiling. And that really speaks to what it's all about, the lifestyle, you know?
Okay, yeah, this is hard to keep the shot steady.
All right, so apparently Jake has to sit up front because he wants to have as much fun as I do. You ready, buddy?
Yes, I have to sit up front because I want it to actually look good. Just let me do my job.
We're going on an adventure.
That was a good time right there. This is awesome.
Are you having fun?
This is pretty awesome.
This is what Jeeping's all about.
And that's what we keep finding every time we're out on the road, every time we go meet somebody new, every vehicle, every story.
There's a group of people that love them, no matter what vehicle.
Good guys and good gals. I guess you could just say good people, loving the world of automobiles. On the next episode, we hit the highway in the Midwest for some American muscle.